If I could suggest just one thing for you to do to eliminate chronic fatigue, hormonal issues, and poor gut health, it's avoid these healthy foods. Listen, they look harmless and they're marketed as though they're good for you, but they quietly poison your organs and increase your risk of chronic health issues over time. And the one that shocked me the most was salt. Yes, you heard me right, salt. But listen, before people lose their minds in the comments, this isn't about fear. Listen, you don't get sick from one meal, but you do get sick from doing the same thing every single day because no one told you to question it. So these are my 5 healthy foods to avoid. Let's start with salt. For years, we've been told that unrefined sea salt or Himalayan salt was the healthier option versus standard table salt. It's more natural, it's packed with minerals, and it's better for blood pressure, which, by the way, is true. However, recent research shows that some unrefined salt brands contain higher levels of heavy metals than refined salts. We're talking about metals like lead, cadmium, and chromium. Heavy metals don't just pass straight through your body, they accumulate in your body. They stress out your kidneys, your nervous system, and also your cardiovascular system. Heavy metal toxicity is real and it's not a good thing. So if you already struggle with blood pressure issues, fatigue, and hormonal imbalances, this adds pressure where your body is already struggling. So even small contaminated levels matter because the exposure never stops because you're always adding salt to your food. Listen, this is not about demonizing salt at all. Your body needs sodium and it needs trace minerals. It's about understanding that unrefined salt doesn't automatically mean it's healthy for you. The best thing to do is to do your research on any unrefined salt brands that you're looking to use in your home. By the way, if you want to go deeper than this quick breakdown and start removing the diet traps that are quietly driving your symptoms, then grab my 10 detox starter tips, link in the description below. So next up, we have another food that will definitely shock you, and that is butter. So butter has made a real comeback over the last, I'd say 5 to 10 years, and it's well deserved with the butter coffee craze and grass-fed butter. So it's a really good thing. Real butter beats seed oils any day of the week. It's full of fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A, D, and K. These are absolutely essential and they're needed for hormone production, thyroid signaling, immune function, and even proper calcium metabolism. But here's what almost nobody is talking about. Butter is a fat and it attracts toxins. Toxins are lipophilic, which means they are fat attracted. So you can guess what happens. The thing is, most butter is wrapped in plastic, and research shows that chemicals from the plastic can easily migrate into fatty foods. For example, Kerrygold butter packaging was recalled in 2023 due to the presence of PFAs. They are forever chemicals in the foil wrapper of the product. So these chemicals are endocrine disrupting. That means they interfere with hormone signaling, thyroid function, and also your reproductive hormones. So again, this isn't just about the one exposure. It's about the daily use, cooking with it, eating it every morning on your eggs, putting it in your coffee. It's that constant continued exposure. And that exposure stacks up over time. Fat-soluble toxins don't flush out easily. Detox is needed to get those things out in the long term. Again, butter itself is not the villain. It's the packaging and the accumulative exposure from that packaging. So I'm sure at this point in the video, you're noticing a pattern. This isn't about banning foods. It's about recognizing how modern processing quietly changes the rules on how our food is delivered to us. So next up, I want to talk about a food that the health nuts absolutely love, and they might roast me in the comments for it. Spinach is praised as a modern superfood to consume. High in minerals, it's great in smoothies, good for everyone, right? Sadly, that isn't true. Spinach is extremely high in something called oxalates. Now, oxalates are naturally occurring plant compounds that act as essentially a defense mechanism inside the plant. But in the human body, they become a problem when intake is high and it is frequent. Oxalates bind to minerals like magnesium, calcium, and they also block nutrient absorption. Oxalates basically act like mineral magnets. Studies show that magnesium absorption from spinach is dramatically lower compared to lower oxalate vegetables. So for people with gut issues, oxalates can irritate the intestinal lining and increase inflammation within the body. For people with mineral imbalances, this makes things even worse because essentially you're not getting enough minerals into the system. So when spinach is eaten daily, especially in smoothies, because that's in large quantities blended up, causes a huge stressor in the body that is not beneficial. Look, this doesn't mean that spinach is a poison. It means that the frequency and the volume of how much spinach you have really does matter. The amount of times clients have come to me with loads of issues because they've been blending spinach in their smoothies every day, you would not believe. And another thing I didn't mention is oxalate crystals, which essentially accumulate in your joints when someone's been pounding these spinach smoothies consistently for a long period of time. So this next food I'm about to talk about catches out pretty much everyone. Oatmeal is sold as the perfect breakfast. Heart healthy, fiber rich, a great start to your day. That reputation is outdated. Oats are one of the most glyphosate sprayed crops in the entire world. Glyphosate is often sprayed right before harvest as a drying agent. Glyphosate is actually a patented antibiotic and is massively disruptive to your gut bacteria. It impairs bile flow, it interferes with mineral absorption, and is not good for your overall health. So if somebody already has gut or hormone issues, this makes things a whole lot worse. Also, we need to talk about blood sugar. Having instant oatmeal spikes your glucose very fast. That triggers insulin, and once that's triggered, there comes a crash. Repeated spikes drive fat storage, cortisol output, and metabolic function. And oats also contain phytic acid. Phytic acid binds to minerals like zinc, magnesium, iron, and also calcium. So over time, this contributes to mineral depletion. That impacts things like your thyroid, your hormones, even nerve signaling. Low minerals causes a lot of issues. Oats fill up your stomach, but they do not nourish your cells. Now listen, if you love oats and you don't want to stop them, try find organic oats and do your research on whether they've been sprayed or not. And also you can ferment your oats the night before to remove the phytic acid and make it more digestible for your body. So if you're keto or you're gluten-free, you probably dodged that bullet. But this last one is going to hit hard. Nuts are often seen as a perfect health food. It's high nutrients, it's an easy snack, it's clean fuel. But nuts come with a catch. Nuts contain something called anti-nutrients. Essentially, these are plant defense compounds that are designed to protect seeds. And ultimately, nuts are seeds. One of the biggest is phytic acid that we've just mentioned. As we said with the oatmeal, phytic acid binds to minerals and essentially stops mineral absorption into the body. Consistently having nuts can quietly contribute to mineral depletion, which affects so many things: testosterone, your stress tolerance, and also your digestive capacity. Also, most nuts are high in omega-6. Excessive omega-6 drives inflammation when it's not in balance with omega-3. So there's omega-3 and omega-6 ratio that needs to be maintained. That's the same reason why we see so many issues with seed oil consumption, because it's driving a lot of omega-6 into the body and not balancing that ratio out. When that ratio becomes imbalanced, the body stays stuck in a pro-inflammatory state. And most of our modern diets today are already omega-6 dominant, and adding in nuts pushes that imbalance further. Historically, nuts were not eaten raw and by the handful every single day. They were soaked, they were sprouted, or fermented to reduce the anti-nutrients and also improve the mineral availability. And that is the missing step that most people do not know about. The thing is, if you ate a few soaked and sprouted nuts on occasion, that wouldn't be an issue. But now we've got these nut flours, we've got these nut milks, we've got these nut butters, nut breads, pancakes, the whole thing. There's a lot of nut products today that haven't been prepared properly. And that's not how our ancestors would have eaten them. And the thing is, soaking nuts is really easy. Nuts, water, some salt. The soaking period depends on the nut that you're soaking and sprouting. And then you leave them to dry out, ideally in the sun. And that's it. So the key takeaway from this video is you can think you're eating healthy and still feel like trash because you don't know better. All it takes is just a few small mistakes repeated every single day that compounds over time. So just because something is labeled as healthy, it doesn't mean it's safe for your body. Your health problems don't come out of nowhere. They come from repeated exposures to things no one tells you to question. If you want to understand what to remove first before trying to heal anything, watch the next video where I break it down step by step.